the business of hiring a head coach was important, but also secondary. Now we're on to the meat and potatoes of the offseason.
Right.
Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. Now, we'll talk about Beal a little bit. Let's talk about Kevin Durant because we are checking boxes. The coach is done, and now it's time to move on to KD. The NBA draft is 3 weeks from today, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
You think that's going to be right around that time, if not the day of the draft, is when things go down with Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I do. The first thing I want to say is that, a lot of the reports that are out there are inaccurate. And so what I'll say is to as of now, the Suns haven't been in discussions with trading Kevin Durant to anybody since February. Now, in February, they did speak to a lot of different teams about trading Durant.
Okay.
And we know that. But since then, when they didn't have a GM and they didn't have a coach, they weren't actively trying to trade Kevin Durant. So these reports that, the Houston report is just 100% wrong. Phoenix Suns have lowered their asking price for Kevin Durant, and Houston has made several calls to get a deal done. They haven't spoken. The Rockets and the Suns have not spoken since February. Honestly, they haven't. The Suns haven't had a coach. Before that, they didn't have a GM. There are no calls going on to trade Kevin Durant. Now, will there be calls now? Absolutely. There'll be calls. They will start the process now. They had to take care of some business at hand. You had to hire a GM. Once you hired a GM, his first job was to hire a coach. That was a long process. That took 5 weeks. They had to hire a coach. They weren't working on trading Kevin Durant before they had a coach in place. So that information was incorrect. And I think people could just rationalize that. Hey, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they didn't have a GM. They obviously weren't calling to make a trade before they had a GM. And then when they hired a GM, they didn't have a coach, and his whole emphasis was on doing 20 interviews. It makes sense that they're not trying to trade Kevin Durant. Now they are.
Yeah.
Now they are. Today. Yes, they're trying to trade Kevin Durant today. And I expect that there's going to be a lot of interest in Kevin Durant. And I've said this all from the get-go. I do think that there is going to be a lot of interest. I have Houston as one of the teams that will be interested. I have today, as of today, I have all of the regular teams that you would want, except for one we've never talked about.
Okay, give me the teams.
So Spurs, Rockets, Timberwolves, Knicks, Heat.
Okay.
And the one team that I think that there'll be communication. Now, again, this may be the Suns reaching out to them or them reaching out to the Suns or just mutual interest. The one more team I'm going to put in there as a possibility is the Clippers. We've never talked about the Clippers before. But they got Zubac, they got Dunn, they got Powell, they got Derek Jones. I'll have to look at what their draft capital is, but the Clippers are a team that I heard. I have heard that the Suns don't have interest in Karl Anthony Towns. I did hear that today. I was told today that they wouldn't have interest.
Thank God.
What was that, Mitch?
I was doing an over-exaggerated phew.
Yes. I was told today that with the Knicks, more likely they would like an OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges. But not a Karl Anthony Towns.
Your email on this topic got under Lauren's skin a little bit because she feels like every time. Can I speak for you, or do you want to speak for yourself? It's up to you. I don't want to.
No, absolutely speak for me.
I think
just be nice because I need her to help me with some paperwork on my computer soon.
I think she feels like every time Mikal Bridges is brought up in a Kevin Durant trade, it's like trolling her. It's like playing with her emotions. It's giving her false hope where none should exist. So you say Mikal, you mentioned Mikal in your email.
I mentioned OG Anunoby too,
but she doesn't care about OG Anunoby.
I know
she doesn't. She before you got here, she showed me your email and she's like, "What the is this?" And she cursed. She used the word, "What the is this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is Gambo doing the Gambo thing. She's going, but it's him. I don't want you. Don't tease me like this.
I'm trying to be extra careful with what I say now because, within 5 minutes, it's in China, Japan, Brazil. I'm in 75 countries.
I'm big in China. I'm Gambo. I'm big in China.
I'm huge in China.
Huge in France. I don't know why. In France, I'm very, very big.
Brazil. You wouldn't believe, but I got Brazil. A lot of Suns fans in Brazil follow.
Bigger than the Eiffel Tower in France is what I am. I'm huge in France right now.
That's just Anga metal. Want to go see something real? Go to the Coliseum.
Oh God, here we go with
to
that.
Eiffel Tower.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah. You got a choice: Eiffel Tower, or Coliseum. Go to Coliseum.
Enough of the palaver.
Yeah.
So
there's been no trade talk up until now, but now they will start the process of trying to actively trade Kevin Durant.
And obviously the question, and this goes without saying, but I'll say it because it needs to be said. Obviously, this list needs to be vetted by Kevin Durant himself too, and maybe. And I don't know if you know this, has this list already been vetted by Kevin Durant? Because he has a tremendous amount of say in where he's going to end up.
So I do know somebody that has been with Kevin Durant recently. And Kevin Durant and this person talked about the Spurs.
Okay.
And that's why I mentioned the Spurs. Now, this is, I don't want to say who, but, again, somebody that Katie knows and trusts that was talking to KD mentioned the Spurs. He mentioned the Spurs. And they talked about the Spurs. Like, hey, where could you end up and everything? And he talked about the Spurs. Now, the Spurs, I would love to get Devin Vassell. Like, now you could sit there and position, like, the Suns need an influx of young talent. I don't think that they would trade Castle. But I'm telling you, like, you want to see a team make a leap next year? You throw Wembanyama out there with Fox, Castle, and Durant.
It's a pretty good team.
They can beat anybody.
That's a pretty good team.
They can beat anybody.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that team can't beat anybody.
Does somebody want to play the Devin Booker soundbite about how is anybody going to stop us, or do you want me to?
But there's defensive players there. They've got defensive players.
We've been down this road before with the who's going to stop that team?
Okay.
Well, it's going to stop themselves.
But they could play defense. They could play defense.
The Spurs are very, and if he wants to go there, and again, the reason why he controls this part of the process, I think is twofold. Number one is because of the contract extension that he would be eligible to sign this offseason and kind of holding that hostage with any team that he wants to go to. Number two, the vibe I've gotten from you and others is that the way this all went down in February, the Suns want to make sure they don't do Kevin Durant like that again. Because the way this all went down in February was like Kevin Durant was about to get traded to the Golden State Warriors and he had no idea. Right? Or he had not been consulted, or he had not been talked to about it at all. And the general consensus after all that happened was that's just not how you do it with Kevin Durant. You include him in the process to make sure he's aware of what's going down, so he feels he's got some ownership
100%.
in it. Yeah, right or wrong, good or bad, that's just how it is with a star like Kevin Durant. And so I think this time around, the Suns are going to make absolute sure, extension aside, they're going to move Kevin Durant to a place he wants to go so they don't make him feel like they've done him dirty like they did back in February. That's part of this.
It is. And I think it would be wise, like you said, like if Durant has a few destinations, like I'd be happy going here. I'll work with you guys. Then it makes things a lot easier. I don't think they could get McDaniels out of Minnesota from what I've heard. But could they get Naz Reid, who you like? Could they get Julius Randle? Julius Randle's a good player. I think there will be I still like the Houston if Houston wants him. Now again, there will be discussions with these teams. Like the Suns will probably reach out or they'll reach out. But now that the GM is in place, the coach is in place, they're going to work on the coaching staff, work on the draft, and work on Kevin Durant. The ideal situation for the Phoenix Suns is to trade him by the draft, because if it does include draft capital, they might like San Antonio's got 2 picks. They got
second
2
and the 14th, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're probably not going to give you 2,
No,
but would they give you 14?
Maybe.
Like, okay, I'll take 14. It's better than 29.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.